In this lesson, we're going to talk about transactional value. And a transactional value literally means what it sounds like. I have something you need, you have something I want, and we'll exchange information, could be technology, could be a skill set, knowledge, anything like that. That's a transactional value. Similar to going to college, you pay your tuition because that's what the university wants in order for you to access the information that they have through professors and lectures and quizzes and lab work. And that's transactional value. And knowing the key worth of the items that you are dealing with, that your transactional value has, is key to becoming indispensable. It establishes a certain type of quid pro quo, which is Latin for basically, what's in it for me, what's in it for you. So it's a give and take exchange. And transactional value has to serve you first before it serves everybody else. And that's the real key and what we'll get into more in this lesson. In this lesson, we want to continue on with the subject of transactional value. And every transaction in our lives has a value attached to it. There's literally no such thing as a free lunch. And this could be things like, food. When I first got married and I needed to go buy food, I went to a store and I bought everything at one place. My wife came along and said, no. We go to this store because the milk is less expensive, but it's the same quality. We go to this store because their vegetables are fresher and they have a wider selection. We go to this store because the meat is really good and so is the poultry, things along that line. And then we go over to this store for sundry items such as soap and toothpaste because we get more value, more bang for our buck. And this was really important when we were raising our 3 kids because she had to maximize her dollars or maximize her transactional value in order to make a wonderful home for myself and my 3 kids. So entertainment, and there's transactional value. I am amazed at how much people will pay for entertainment. In fact, I read recently where the last Super Bowl, the average ticket was, $4,600 for the average ticket. Now, I'm sure there were tickets down in the $500, $600, $700 range per seat. But because of supply and demand, there's only so many seats in a stadium. People were willing to pay top dollar or transactional value for the primo seats at the Super Bowl, and that doesn't take in consideration flying in from or traveling or driving in, whichever way you're getting there, from another city or another state, and then the hotel costs and food costs, not to mention the cost of food at the stadiums. So people will put a high transactional value on sporting events, entertainment in general. Another is housing. Houses range from very low income to very, very high. And in the area that I live in, I know a gentleman that has a $4 million home. Now, let's put this in perspective. This is not $4 million in Beverly Hills or just off Park Avenue. This is $4 million in, let's say, Oklahoma City or Omaha, Nebraska. So this place is huge. One time I think he told me it was 20,000 square feet, which is the size of a small warehouse. But because he had the revenue, he was able to exchange the value of what he wanted in a home, and this was a custom-made home, so it was gorgeous, towards what the realtor was able to sell. And so you look at that. Our jobs are a classic example of transactional value. You come in and you start a job and they say it's going to pay X amount of dollars a year, and you start working for that exchange rate. And if you're a salaried employee or an hourly employee, you start to look at what is the transactional value. And a lot of times people will become upset when they find out that the person sitting directly across from them doing the exact same job is making more money than they are when it comes down to what they perceived as their transactional value or their transactional worth. And maybe they were just better at negotiating with their employer prior to coming on board. And so knowing what your transactional value is key. The other thing is sex. Sex has a transactional value. As a local minister told me one time, he said, men in his congregation get married so that they can have sex. Women in his congregation get married so that they can have children, and the transactional value is somewhere in between. between. So we even have it in that. Look at transportation. There are people who always fly first class. There are people who always take a private jet. There are people who will drive around in very, very expensive cars, and those who just realize for their benefit that transportation is getting from point A to point B, and as long as their car gets them there, they don't really care. But there's a transactional value always in there somewhere. And it's knowing what your transactional worth is that's key to becoming indispensable. And every transactional value has to serve your needs first, and then it can serve others. So when I'm going to the market and I'm looking at food, I have a certain amount of dollars, so I'm going around and I'm looking at all of this, and I'm trying to maximize my income. My daughters right now are college students, starving college students, so they get a certain amount of money each month to spend on food and housing and clothing and all the other stuff that comes with being a girl. And so they've had to learn to really budget things out so that at the end of the month they don't have too much month and not enough income coming in. So transactional value is the big what's in it for me question, and we'll cover more of this moving forward through these courses.